I don't believe we can get rid of all the guns, but that's my opening position. We can't get rid of all the guns because this is a country that no longer knows right from wrong, period. And that's ultimately what we're up against. The reason the NRA is so successful on the gun debate is because Americans no longer know right from wrong. In America, if you were to tear away the false patriotism and the phony religious claptrap, you would see a nation that has been stripped of its morality by the weapons manufacturers. Americans do not have a clue as to what constitutes right and wrong because we are in a state of permanent war. The trick played on Americans is convincing us that we're a simple people who refuse to see gray areas, like when we go to war or capital punishment or we lock someone up. We are told there is right and there is wrong. We are told that this is a nation that doesn't believe in moral relativism. We are convinced that everything is black and white, good versus evil. But in practice, it's the complete opposite. In practice, if you're Donald Trump, or George Bush, or Dick Cheney, it's nothing but gray areas. But here's the thing about right versus wrong. When it comes to guns, there is right and there is wrong. If you're looking for good versus evil, rarely do you find something as pure as guns. Guns are evil. Guns are wrong. No gray area here. Guns are wrong. And I know that there are Americans addicted to video games. I know there are Americans who stockpile weapons and go to the shooting range, and they have been pacified into believing gun ownership is part of America's character. If you think America's character was shaped by guns, you have no character, and you have no grasp of American history. Guns are a moral abomination. Let's start with what would you tell your kids? Would you tell them guns are good? Any civilized society has parents and teachers who tell kids that guns are wrong, period. Don't touch a gun. If you walk into a room where there is a gun, run away, because guns are a moral abomination. From a strictly moral standpoint, from the teachings in anyone's good book, guns are a moral abomination, because violence in all its manifestations is wrong, and instruments of violence are wrong. Doesn't matter whose Bible or holy book you're reading, violence and the instruments of violence are sinful. In your good book, you might read about God's vengeance, or you might read about a people's vengeance, taking it out on another people. But there is not a single holy book that preaches or condones ordinary citizens being violent towards other citizens. There's not a single holy book that preaches conflict resolution through violence, through weapons of death, through guns, because taking the law into one's own hands and committing acts of vengeance violates God's authority. Vengeance is mine, says God. It's sometimes the states, but never the individuals. So to wrap the flag or religion around guns is a complete bastardization of civilization. The purpose of religion, the purpose of all these holy books, is to calm the citizenry down, to keep them calm, to make them subservient to God and the state. True believers must surrender all their violent impulses to the state. It is the state, not the individual, who decides how to mete out violence. Capital punishment, eye for an eye, is an Old Testament notion where violence and revenge is meted out by the state, by the judges or kings or high priests, not by individuals. Vigilante justice is immoral. In every holy book, taking the law into your own hands with a gun is a moral abomination. Jesus did not preach self-defense. He preached turning the other cheek. Walk away from violence. Walk away from seeking revenge. If someone robs you with a gun, whipping out your gun means you're going to get robbed of your life as well. If someone is trying to steal your car, it's not worth trying to kill them. That's why every civilized country in the world, except America, doesn't allow its citizens to walk around with guns. Any guns, not just assault rifles, any guns. You're not allowed to walk around with guns in any developed civilized nation other than America, because it is received wisdom that owning guns, taking the law into your own hands, is immoral because it's dangerous and stupid. Period. There's no arguing this. In America, we allow people to carry guns. And that's why 50,000 of us each year die from bullets. How does this happen? A country that spends more on weapons than practically the entire world combined, a country like America that sells more weapons overseas than practically the entire world combined. This country must twist its people's morality into knots so that right is wrong and wrong is right, because we are a nation in a permanent state of war, in the service of the military-industrial complex, in the service of the arms manufacturers. We are a nation in a permanent state of war, sacrificing either our own soldiers or our way of life, or both, to keep these wars going. In order to keep these wars going, the military-industrial complex, the war makers, the war profiteers, must reprogram the American people into believing war is a constant in nature, but also a necessity because there is evil in this world, and that weapons, like guns, when being used to protect the good from the evil, they're moral, they're righteous. Weapons, guns used to protect the good from the bad are righteous. They've twisted our religious teachings. We are now a nation that believes in war. We believe in war.